Terms like cinematography and videography are often used interchangeably, especially here on YouTube, but they represent unique disciplines in the art of visual storytelling. And it's not just about the camera and the crew either. It's about the types of stories that you tell and how you tell them. Early on in my career, I considered myself solidly a videographer, but recent events have caused that to shift. And if you, like me, are struggling to find your place in the creative process, I hope this video helps you chart your own path. Now, without getting into the whole gear discussion, the first thing that I believe differentiates a videographer from a cinematographer is the types of stories and productions that they work on. Cinematography is the art of creating motion pictures with the goal of conveying a narrative or evoking emotion. It's all about crafting visually compelling narratives that help the viewer empathize with the characters and the world they live in. Now, while this video isn't the most cinematic on my channel to date, we do have this storyline about exploring my city after a recent winter storm, and visually how that's changed the representation of places I know well. Videography, on the other hand, is focused on capturing events as they happen in the moment with minimal interference. Now, this is not to say there's less pre-production associated with a videography gig. In fact, it could be the exact opposite. Consider what would happen if you don't know about the set that day or how people are going to move through the scene. Those are things that you may not have opportunity to scope out on certain videography gigs. Speaking of the unexpected, another thing that you might not have thought about as it pertains to cinematic productions is unexpected light. Too little or too much of it can make it difficult to film, as you've been seeing with the light reflecting off my sunglasses. Many of your favorite motion pictures contain added light, especially in dark scenes. The cinematographer worked hard to help you believe the lights were real, and so you did. This is another step that I had to take towards being willing to call myself a cinematographer or director. I had to become unafraid of modified light. I want you to now stop and think about two classic videography gigs. In the first one, we're filming a corporate speech, and in the second, we're filming a wedding ceremony. What do they have in common? Neither of them would enjoy having noisy video lights on set. In contrast, it's rare for cinematographers to not work with added light. In fact, on a professional film set, there's a role of gaffer, and the gaffer's job is to ensure every scene is perfectly lit to the DP and director's specifications. That's an entire role that you simply don't have as an independent videographer, and it's one that you would learn to fill if you want to be a cinematographer as well. I gotta say, this is probably the most freeing portion of this entire experience for me. Learning to use modified light in my productions feels like I'm off a creative leash. And it's not that I didn't understand how to use a light kit before, but I never forced myself to practice. Now, in my studio at home, I cover over all of the windows and I use exclusively artificial and modified light. You've seen my amateur Amaran 200 XS with the Godox softbox, and that serves as my key light for most purposes, but I also have a small 60-watt panel from Amaran that I use on set that can be powered for 2 hours off a single V-mount battery, and that is an indispensable location tool as well. Okay, I said I wouldn't talk about gear, but for this last point, I simply can't help it. And the fact is, it's not even about gear, it's mostly about workflow. So let's talk about how a cinematographer's workflow is different from producing for weddings and corporate video. Throughout the early 2000s, I experienced the growing pains of a camera industry that was trying to glue together the needs of broadcast, cinema, and consumer gear. And the reality was there was a chasm between each individual category, and it was hard to jump from one to the other. Fast forward a few years, and we live in the world of the Sony a7S III, a camera which released 10-bit 422 color space to the masses. As I point out in a recent video, 10-bit color was a game changer for indie filmmakers. For the first time, their cameras were on par with many of the other cinema cameras out there. The FX3, the camera that I'm shooting on right now, is capable of capturing 15 stops of dynamic range. Your normal film stock can only capture 14. And at that point, indie filmmakers could begin to make artistic choices that they simply didn't have before. deeper color grades, film emulation, so much more was added to their creative process. And that fundamentally changed cinematography forever. Now, in today's world, a videographer would be tasked with creating the basic color grade and ensuring that the video looks good on social media. But I don't think they're going to step into the world of working with professional color tools, emulating film, adding halation effects. These are all things that you'll see in a cinematic workflow that you probably won't see for your average YouTube production. And for myself, I'm starting to step into working in cine color spaces, creating HDR grades of my videos, and other things that will set my work apart from the rest. All right, well, that's a wrap. The differences between cinematography and videography, the way that I see it. Obviously, these are just my opinions, and of course, you're welcome to disagree and chime in with your own opinions down in the comments. Stay tuned here on the channel. I have a follow-up video coming to my ProRes RAW tutorial, which is covering grading for high dynamic range and cinema-style picture profiles. It'll be useful. This is everything you ever wanted to know about ProRes RAW outside of grading for Rec. 709. If this video was helpful to you, leave a like for the algorithm, comment down below with any feedback you have, and of course, stay curious.